Welcome to video lecture series on subject serving. So in previous lecture we see the introduction regarding remote sensing. As we know that in case of the remote sensing we have to collect the information without physical contacts. So best example of the remote sensing is your eyesight. So we have to see the pictures over the ground or over the surface without touching the any object. So we have to collect the information. So these are the best example of remote sensing is our eye. Okay, so same can be used in remote sensing. So as we know the source of the energy is the sun. So sun can be transmit the energy toward the surface of the earth. So it can be some of the object, it can be transmitted, some of it can be absorbed, and some can it can be reflected. So this reflected energy, right, it is comes over the object, so it can be absorbed toward the sensor, and the sensor can be that transmitted can be absorbed this energy, and this can be transmitted toward the receiver, and a receiver can detected and detected this energy. Okay, and after that it can be analyzed, processed, and you have to get the image related to that object. So in case of the remote sensing, it is the we have to gather the information without physical contact. Okay, so application of remote sensing related to the civil engineers. So as we know that it is used in uh, uh, land acquisition, or in case of you have to collect the information regarding the flood area. Okay, so these are the some example. We see the in previous lecture basic process in remote sensing, that is a data acquisition, then processing in data acquisition, energy propagation and platform, in processing conversion of energy platform to image, in case of the analysis quantitative and qualitative analysis, in accuracy assessment radiometric and geometric correction, another is in information distribution to users. So this is the basic process in remote sensing. Then we see the some application in remote sensing. First is the land use mapping. So remote sensing data is useful for obtaining up-to-date land use pattern of large areas at any given time, and also monitor changes to that from the time to time. It can be used for updating the road maps, asphalt conditions, and wetland de delineation. Then this information is used for regional planners and administrator to frame policy matter for all development of region. Weather forecasting. In weather forecasting, remote sensing is extensively used in India for weather forecasting. It can also use for warn people about the impending cyclone. In environmental study, it can be used study of deforestation, degradation of fertile lands, pollution in atmosphere, de- des- uh, desertification, eutrophication of large water bodies, and oil spill from the oil tankers. Then study of natural hazards. Here, remote sensing can be used to damage the caused by earthquake, volcanoes, landslides, floods, and melting of ice in polar region. Many times, remote sensing can be useful to predict the occurrence of natural hazards. Then resource exploration. Remote sensing data is useful for updating the extensive geographical maps, rapid preparation of alignment and tectonic maps, identifying the sites for quarrying the minerals, and helpful in locating the fossils and fossil fuel deposits. Then study archaeological investigation, many structures of the old era are now buried under the ground and are not known. By taking the study by but by studying the changes in moisture content and other characteristics of the buried object and their upper a new layer, remote sensors are able to recognize the buried structures of archaeological importance. Nothing but by changing the weathers, you can identify of that objects by using remote sensing. Then natural hazard study using remote sensing, the following natural hazards can be predicted to some extent and hazard minimized. First is the earthquake. Using remote sensing, the following natural hazards can be predicted to some extent and hazard minimized, such as volcanoes, earthquake, landslides, floods, and hurricanes and cyclones. Then, application of remote sensing in water resource engineering. By analyzing the multi-data remote sensing data, it will be possible to monetize the effect of dam construction, remotely sense remotely sense data of pre and post dam construction can the forest and another land at different water levels. This will help to primarily investigation of impact assessment of dam and rehabilitation to study the visibility inter basin transfer of surplus flood loads. Remote sensing data can be uh, cost and effective. Then remote sensing can be used in flood management, drought management, and irrigation commands area measurements were demonstration in India by a number of researchers from time to time. The remote sensing can be used in mapping of active flood plan, long range weather forecasting, estimation of crop areas, of crop production, and preparation of irrigations map through a land planning. So in this way the remote sensing can be used. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Thank you.